Well, we had the thing at our work in Ohio to where if you secretly call somebody, you could like put a fine on them for smoking. People were like, "You really find out who your friends are." They did. It was a short period. It was like a $1,500 fine for anybody that smokes near the building. They tried to eliminate smoking like on the work premises.
This was just your job? Or
This was like the health place came into my job. Do you know what's crazy? A place full of chemicals that say radon causes death. You know? And I'm worried about the cigarettes. But either way, man, dude, people, you really see who your friends are. People would just sneak, try to record you. It was just bad, you know. I used to have to go hide. I'd climb up in these rafters where the bed liners are, dude, just to go hide out for a minute.
Wow. When you were quitting smoking, though, did you go through the real, like, the shit of it?
Oh, yeah.
It was like the sweats. You're like...
dude, it was terrible, man. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life.
You gained weight or you lost weight?
I can't, you know, I didn't have enough money to really eat back then, so the weight wasn't much of an issue.
Yeah.
Dude, I used to like roll up fake cigarettes and not light them. I did everything. I used to just hold a cigarette and puff it with no lighter on it.
Wow.
It was just so hard to quit, dude. I remember I had cigarettes in bottled in like a glass water.
Yeah.
And a cup of water, a red Dixie cup. I was putting or a clear one. I was putting cigarettes in there, and dude, I reached in there. I was chewing them. I did not want to smoke.
Jeez.
I just paced around. I seen a cigarette in the rain, and every day I thought about it. Every time I blinked, I saw that soaking wet cigarette in the rain. Because people knew I was trying to quit, so they wouldn't give me a cigarette.
Wow.
I was like, I really want to quit. Even the people at the gas station, I said, don't sell me a cigarette. It took me a year and a half to quit.
Did you end up relapsing and you fall?
Yeah, throughout the
off?
year and a half, all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, I'd always fall off. Same thing with the eating healthy, but the thing is, the way I am, when I really make up my mind for real, like other people can make the decision for me, but when I'm like, I'm done, dude, I am done.
Yeah.
And my uncle put it to me, he goes, hey, the easiest way to quit is never have another one. And it sounds stupid.
Well, this is, whenever I've ever seen you try to quit something, you always say, I just got to have one more night.
Yeah.
I'm going to just do one more.
Get
this out of my system. It's like, no, it's got to be out of your system.
Yeah.
It's you're putting it back in your system.
You got to be sick of something to quit it.
Yeah. Well, it's like people, there are certain things, if it's like you're doing heroin or something, you can't just go cold turkey because you'll get sick. But there is, if anything below that, it's like, no, you just got to stop.
Well, yeah, you're going to get sick regardless. I mean, when you quit, you got to quit, you know.
Yeah.
Heroin, I know people do get sick. I've known people that have been on
but it's like, even if you go to a doctor, they don't tell you to just like,
you got to wait that sickness out.
Well, you got to taper. You do methadone and you taper off.
They got Suboxone.
Slow it down. Yeah. But it's like, if you just stop, then your body like freaks out. It's like.
But dude, I'm on the fence with that because those people get on that Suboxone and they stay on that for 20 years. They just
you don't overdose on that though.
Yeah.
It's still better than putting junk in your system.
The hardest thing I ever had to do was quit cigarettes, man. I mean, I never been hooked on heroin.
How old were you?
I was probably about 24 or something, 25,
still
26,
young.
Yeah.
When did you start smoking though?
Probably around 22. I guess I didn't do it that long.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some kids start smoking when they're 13.
Oh,
and then they got to quit when they're like 30.
I think my brother started when he was like about probably 9. He had his first cigarette.
Man.
I don't know. Maybe in the 8th grade, he was really going hard, I think. 7th and 8th grade.
I remember being in like 3rd or 4th grade, and I was in like summer camp, and I was somehow with like a bunch of older kids who were like, looking back, they were in like 5th grade. But they were all smoking cigarettes and like smoking like little bits of weed and stuff. I would just hang around them when they did it. And it's not until I got older that I realized like I was hanging around with like 9-year-olds.
Wow. And you thought they were adults.
I thought they were cool. Yeah. I thought these were like grown adults.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, that is like way too young to even like get close to it.
Yeah, my cousin little Leo started when he was young. I remember we were behind the garage. We were probably 7. He offered me a cigarette. I'm like, dude, you smoke? And he was like that stressed out smoking. Like it wasn't like he was just secretly doing it.
He's going through some shit.
He was probably been smoking since he was about 5.
Wow.
He came from a drug addict house.
Yeah.
We used to be jealous. They had all the toys over there. But we didn't realize that was just to mask all the problems.
It's crazy, too, because these days, if you're around somebody who smokes cigarettes and they walk into your apartment, it's like the entire apartment smells.
Yeah.
You can't get away from it. But it's
I hate it.
How are these fourth graders getting away with smoking? And you go home, and it's like, what kind of parents are these?
Yeah, them parents are smoking, too.
They don't notice that their kid smells like tobacco?
Right.
Of all things.
Well, most of the time when you see kids smoking at a young age like that, it's a very telltale sign that the parents aren't good.
Yeah, number one.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Kids smoking in 4th grade,
Yeah.
that's usually how you know.
Especially, yeah, like you're saying, if they're not even smoking like as like a dangerous, badass thing to do. But this is just like, no, I just ate dinner. I got to go.
Right.
I got to step outside.
And some kids were like that.
Yeah.
My buddy Jesse, he was probably the coolest kid growing up. He was way bigger than all of us. And he was like that. He'd smoke cigarettes. And I remember, I was like, what grade's he in? And I'm like 6 months older than him. I'm just a tiny dude. He had like facial hair, dude.
Yeah, this guy, he's got to go to work.
And his mom
gotta
was
smoke
like
a square.
on the news for a police chase with a huge drug run.
Wow. Oh,
So,
right. Yeah, that kid.
Yeah, so you know that. I mean, it just goes to show you. This kid, he told me, he goes, "Yeah, I learned how to roll a blunt when I was 5."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, we had Big Black over. It was like her mom's boyfriend."
Wow.
And I guess he taught him how to roll blunts. And he said,
To me,
just roll blunts.
I almost think smoking weed as a little kid makes more sense than smoking cigarettes.
You become a rapper like Lil Wayne.
Well, I mean, like weed, at least you are getting high, so something's happening to your brain. But cigarettes, it's just like it's just like a rush.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting high from
It's like
cigarettes
it's not
too.
like high though. It's more like, it's like a brain rush, right?
You know what's crazy is if you have a cigarette on an empty stomach, dude, you will be so nauseous. You'll be ready to throw up.
Yeah.
You can't smoke on an empty stomach.
But to me, it's like that's already what kids are like.
yeah, like
being
kids
a little
never
kid.
eat.
But I mean, being a little kid is you're all hyper and you're fidgety and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know why would you want to smoke a cigarette?
You know what blows me away? I always get excited to see whenever you see like a mini obese kid and he's hyper.
Oh yeah.
It's like, how you keeping that weight on you? They'll just move for no reason.
Yeah, I mean that's a heart attack waiting to happen.
Just be jumping on the back of a chair. I see him at the airport all the time.
Yeah. Well, those little kids, it's also like that's like a lack of discipline from their parents.
Yeah,
because
you know
their
what it
parents
is.
let them get all fat and stuff.
I'll tell you how they discipline them. I see it. They discipline them by getting them more Chick-fil-A. They know you're going to be quiet for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Get those little nuggets, something that takes time to eat.
Yeah. Well, it's like you do the parenting thing where you give them something and you take it away.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you can't have the 20-ounce Coke. And
oh yeah, that's how you got to do it. I remember spitting was our thing. Like that's what we did back in the day. We'd spit. You're talking to somebody, you just spit.
Yeah.
Everybody'd get mad. Stop spitting.
Disgusting habit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like a thing. That was like the shit to do. That's all we had back then.
Well, you realize, I mean, like I think it's just because of the age we are, but it's like if you had been born in that same place like 30 years earlier, think about all the nasty ass habits you would have been doing. All the chewing tobacco and shit. That's like the
working on cars.
Yeah. But just like chewing tobacco. People didn't wash their hands back then. Everything was kind of fucked up.
Did you ever talk to somebody from the 70s back then?
Yeah.
They used to like fix lawnmower. Like they had nothing to do.
Yeah.
I guarantee your dad knows how to fix a lawnmower when he was 8.
But it was just like kids were dirty back then. Nobody drank water.
Right. There was no such thing as water.
Yeah, I don't even think like brushing your teeth came out until like later on.
That is right when you think about it. Even brushing your hair or anything.
Yeah.
It was just one pair of jeans, one T-shirt, and
I think when
jacket.
you like to clean your hair back in the day, it was just the same bar of soap.
Right.
It's just like, yeah, you rub it on your face, rub it on your hair.
Dude, I talked to my buddy from Ireland. He still does that. Just a block, just this. I think it's black people's soap. I was at his house. Dude, it's like this huge block of soap that I've never seen. I don't think it's for white people. And he's like, yeah, use that for everything. Dude, his face is chapped. I'm like, dude. I was like, you need to invest in some good soap, dude.
Well, that's why everybody looked all old back then, too.
Yeah.
You see a picture of what like a 50-year-old guy looked like in the 70s?
Well,
this
they'd
dude is
sleep
ancient.
in other people's cars, man. I was talking to my uncle, and he goes, oh, yeah, we went up the strip. And, you just got to find a car that's unlocked and sleep in it. Dude, that would be unheard of today.
Yeah. Well, everything was just unlocked back in the day, too.
Right.
It was like the only, any of those old, like, you get a Ford truck, if you really want to open the door, there's a coat hanger. 2 seconds, you're in. But it's like, that's for the people who actually lock their doors. I think back in the day, you just left your shit unlocked all the time.
Nobody's stealing.
Yeah.
Crime probably really wasn't that bad in the 30s. Remember in the 30s, if you stole salami, your dad takes you back to the store.
Right.
And you tell Mr. Withers what you did. I stole the meat.
Yeah. Well, I think it was just people were more like, I don't know if people were better or if it was just like more respectful, I guess.
Maybe more fear of the government.
Yeah. But yeah, just breaking in when you see like how they used to hotwire a car back in the day. And it's like, oh, yeah, you just twist two wires.
Yeah.
It's not even like some like Mission Impossible shit that you got to do these days. It's like, no, boom, you're in.
It probably started in the 70s.
Yeah.
When gangs started coming out.
Well, once like, gas starts getting expensive and once,
And crack hit the streets.
Yeah. But yeah, these days, imagine trying to steal like a new Civic. All the computer hacking kind of shit you got to do.
Nah, dude, you take a screwdriver, you break the ignition. I could take a Civic in 5 minutes.
You could take a 90s Civic.
No, I'll take a brand new Civic.
No, these new ones got just like a Tesla. They got computers and shit inside.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe
they don't even got most of those cars these days. Don't even have a key. It's a fob.
Anything with a key you could take easy.
They haven't made keys. Don't go in cars in decades.
At least 4 years. No, they got the key. They got the option for the key.
They do, but it's like any new car you get these days, 2024 car. It's like no, that shit is old. You haven't stolen a car in a long time.
No, I mean I haven't, but anything where you could plug a key into anything, you could steal that car easy.
Yeah, but I mean like these compared to like back in the 60s and 70s, those cars were made to be like.
Oh yeah,
there was one key that existed back in the day. You could just shove anything in there.
I'm not gonna lie, probably up to about, and people on the podcast could tell us. I'd say definitely up until 2010, very easy to steal any car.
Well, I mean, like the especially shittier cars.
Unless they have the club on them. No, any car.
I mean, like there was a security. The systems, though, were more like it was forget to steal like a Kia or a Hyundai. That's why those cars are so easy to steal. Is that everything is so like the company is too cheap to make keys that are different.
Oh, wow.
So like
you take
any key you could shove a fork in there.
Anything, if you break all that shit where the key goes, take a hammer and bust all that shit off.
Yeah.
All that plastic shit.
Yeah.
Take a screwdriver and beat that thing with a hammer a few times.
Mm-hmm.
The ignition will fall apart. Then you'll see two pieces of metal, and you just put them together and start the car.
Right.
So you just got to break all that shit.
Yeah.
All that plastic shit, once you start breaking that out, there's a reason why Honda's insurance is still high. They're still getting stolen.
Yeah.
But parts are still getting taken off of them, too.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing in New York. You have to have wheel locks on your car.
Right.
People will take your wheels. Brand new Honda wheels and tires.
Yeah, and the catalytic converter and everything.
Yeah, it takes a second.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine just stealing somebody else's car. I mean, I had to break my own ignition. It's just be crazy. Just out on a joyride, steal it with a Stoli.
The only way I can imagine having to steal a car like that and actually doing it is like you just committed a different crime.
Yeah.
And now it's like I'm already here.
Or you're on the run for your life.
Exactly. But you're on the run because
But maybe somebody's trying to kill you.
I mean, in that case, though, it's like most people don't have the wherewithal to actually like make something like that happen. But it's like you just robbed a bank. It's like, fuck, I'm already in for 20 years. It's like, what are they going to get me for, a car?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I stole a Hyundai.
I was just on a ship with a guy.
I just killed a guy.
His brother robbed 16 banks, only got four years because he did them in different states. He did Ohio, PA. He did the surrounding states.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that little loophole if you're going to go rob banks. He got 16 of them.
How much money did he get?
He would average about $3,000 a bank, he said, because he wouldn't go big and like try to rob the vault.
Banks get robbed way more than people realize.
Yeah,
it happens like very frequently.
And they caught him like 20 years later, though.
Yeah.
Pulled him over at a traffic stop. He forgot he even did it. I guess he was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And when he's like, oh, shit, it's the bank robbery. 4 years, though.
How much do you think you'd get for $3,000? That's not.
They robbed 16 of them.
That's less than $50,000, though.
Wow, dude, but still, I mean, fuck.
How many years do you think someone should get for stealing $50,000?
Well, I don't know, but you're just going in and robbing a bank.
He's not robbing the entire bank.
Well,
he's getting this is like petty crime.
And he had a note. He said he never brought a gun. I bet you the dude had a pistol though, but he had a note.
No, that's the thing. To rob any bank, if you give them a note, the person is trained to just give it up.
Yeah.
But it's like because they know that the way a bank is set up, you can't just go in. It's not like a movie. It's not like Batman where you steal you don't walk out with $1 million.
Unless you're a real psycho.
No, but the bank just doesn't. The person behind the counter doesn't have access to the real shit.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you got to do remember Heat.
Bro,
you got to be like you robbed the Brinks truck or something. But that's that's real high level Soviet crime.
But imagine being the teller. I'm sorry, I don't have the code. Bang! It's like give her the fucking code.
No, that's why the teller is they. It's just like stealing from CVS. It's like that person's they're trained to just here you go.
But what if the teller gets shocked because she doesn't have the code?
The person who's robbing the bank is just they're either on drugs or they actually know how banks work. So it's like they know the guy's going in the bank knowing I'm only going to walk out with $1,200.
Wow.
And it's like hopefully I can just they're not going to send the FBI after me for
That's so dumb. Who would rob a bank for $1,200?
Oh, this guy.
Right.
Yeah, clearly. But it's like you see the bank that teller is that's like a $20 an hour job. That's not like this isn't
right.
And plus you're stealing from some bank in Indiana. It's not like this is like high rollers.
It's crazy you could just go to work for 2 weeks.
What do you mean? Oh yeah.
Make $1,200 ain't shit. In today's age?
And then plus you steal that shit and you gotta get away and you gotta figure out what to do with all this cash, how to actually it's not like you can
deposit it.
You can't buy a house with it.
Right.
You're going to show up with a bunch of old 20s or something.
Oh yeah, if you robbed a bunch of them.
Yeah. I think it's just that's why, especially these days, people don't really carry cash like that. But that's the kind of crime. It's just it used to be like a real classy, like Bonnie and Clyde kind of thing in the 50s. Now it's just fucking junkies that would even bother with that.
I had this one friend. He always used to lie. He never got in trouble anyways. But a bank did get robbed in our hometown, and I was messing with his baby mom. They broke up, but he still liked her. But he shows up right to her house, and it's on the news. A bank just got robbed on Mahoning Ave, and he shows up with $4,500 cash. He's like, I just robbed that bank. But it's like, wow. Dude, I know he had to be lying, but maybe not.
Hey,
if you mention it like that, I thought bank robbery was like, even if you just take $1, I thought, dude, the FBI is coming. I just figured you're robbing a bank.
I mean, the FBI is coming if you hack into the bank and you steal millions of dollars and the system is fucked up. But it's there's physical banks everywhere. It's not like the system itself isn't being whoever he stole the money. It's not like somebody's missing $3,000 from their account now. Where it's no, the system it's all insured. So,
but why don't everybody just rob banks?
Because you only get $2,000.
So it's not worth it. Then you're on the run.
Yeah, and you are on the run from the cops. If the cops bust you, that is still doing 4 years in jail. It's still a long fucking time.
I would never want to do it.
I wouldn't want to do it.
I wouldn't do it for
year.
50 Gs.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it for 10 times that much money. That's not
right.
Yeah. Because you never,
And, dude, I just don't know how prison really works either. That's what fears me. If it was some place where everything's organized and people are civilized, I'd go do that stretch one of those rich people prisons.
Yeah.
Where people are playing tennis and they're wearing comfortable sneakers.
Even if it was just if I was in a room if it was college.
Right.
Where it's no, you just wake up in this room and you go over here. You go to work for a little while, then you're back in the room. It's
you can't go outside.
Yeah, that's at least you know what's going to happen. But dealing with the mafia or something.
And when you talk to these prisoners, they get jealous of people doing 4-year runs. You're going to have a harder time because that person doing 120, he's going to be like.
I feel 4 years in jail. Those first 2 years, you're still getting used to it.
Right.
It's still every single day you wake up, you're like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
And then then you got to do the second two, and it just drags.
Yeah.
And then what that last year has got to be torture.
And you don't want to be telling people I got a year left.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a true thing or not, but evidently some of these prisoners, there's a game that they play in prison where they'll hand you a knife, and then they go, let's fight for your booty.
Right. I'm sure it's happened. I doubt that it's just a regular thing.
Right. I wouldn't give somebody a knife.
From what I've heard, I mean, from my TikTok research, unless you're actually in like bad prison and you did some like sex crime stuff. That's when you're really in danger. But if you're in like bank robbery prison, I think it is like everybody's just trying to go home.
Right.
Everybody's thinking like, I'm not in here forever.
Right.
So it's like we just got to get through these 6 years. But
yeah,
you are still around a bunch of dudes, but it's not like,
you're not around the murders, so they do separate you.
Yeah, I mean, depending on this is not like maximum security, like cartel kind of prison, because it's like that's the way I was saying. Where it's like, how much time would you give somebody who stole $50,000? Think when they put you in jail, it's costing the government like $80,000 a year to keep you in jail.
Wow.
So it's like the time, whatever your punishment is, it's like it costs way more to keep you in there.
That's crazy.
So it's like, yeah, you got to make the punishment bad enough that somebody doesn't want to rob a bank. But it's like, think about how much they're paying. Any of these people who are saying like, oh, we just got to, these Trump types who are like, we just got to start locking people up to give these cops more power to just put people in jail. It's like, it costs so much money to put them in jail for someone for stealing from Best Buy. Someone steals some video games for a couple $100,
dude.
And it's like that guy stole $200, but we're going to spend $500,000 to keep him locked up.
That's insane.
Yeah, this money's coming from somewhere.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess I just didn't think if you look at the food, it's like it can't.
People
cost
are
too
mad
much.
that they're giving immigrants $4,000 or something in like EBT so they can buy food from bodegas because it's like you got to pay for something, but it's like their plan is like, no, we're going to lock everybody up and put them in camps. And it's like, no, that's going to cost way more.
Right.
Yeah, you got to hire people to build these camps and to guard them. And it's like, no, we're going to end up spending millions of dollars just to keep somebody from,
I wouldn't even feel comfortable if I walked outside you just seeing about 60 people in a camp. Something about that ain't right.
It's not going to be in the city. They're just going to they're going to have to build it somewhere in the fucking desert. Or it's just like, we got to keep 10 million people somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're not barbaric. You got to give them food.
Yeah, some used tires to play with.
Yeah, you got to give them a soccer ball at least. But it's like, it's going to cost so much money. People think they're going to save money from it. But it's like, no, this is going to be crazy.
Yeah, man, that is wild,
Just to keep somebody in a homeless shelter, it costs the city like $60,000 a year. Just think, like, it's like $4,000 a month to keep somebody in a homeless shelter in a bunk.
That's insane.
With like 10 other people in the room, and it's all fucked up and gross looking. It's like if they gave that person $5,000 or $4,000, that same money, they would just have a house.
Yeah, I seen that one TikTok thing where they were talking about trying to solve this problem by I don't know if this is true or not, but evidently there's a drug that they're trying out to make it seem like 10 minutes feels like 10 years. Did you see that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, dude, that would never work.
What's this for though?
It's like, so prisoners, say you do a crime.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you do a crime that's worth 10 years, they inject you with something, and it makes you feel like you did 10 years in 10 minutes. They let you go. You're free 10 minutes later.
I don't know if I buy that. But yeah, the idea, that's like some science fiction shit. But it's funny, like you were saying, you couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
You're taking edibles. But it's just like, whenever I hear about people who smoke weed in jail, and it's like, that would be the last place I'd want to get high.
Right.
Just having that, you don't want time to go by.
And it was in their ass.
Not even, well, there's that. But it's also just like, you don't want more. When you smoke weed and you get high, it's like you have more thoughts.
Right.
And more if you're going through like a guilt phase where like you can't get over a breakup, you can't get over some mistake you made, you get high. That fucks you up more. You start playing it again and again. It's like how you go crazy in prison.
And the paranoia of somebody busting you.
The paranoia, and it's just like, I don't even want to get high on a flight.
Right.
It's like I'm already in a stressful place. It's like I want to fall asleep, maybe. But
there's those some people though that just have to always be high. Like, and then when they go to prison, they're like drinking Drano. They just gotta feel fucked up. I'm glad.
But
I've never been.
It's different getting drunk. Maybe I could see getting drunk in prison.
Oh, dude, you get
drunk.
fucking killed, raped, dude. Are you kidding?
No, you wouldn't care. You wouldn't even be having those thoughts because
maybe Xanax.
Xanax, alcohol, these are our downers. So things kind of get like everything gets kind of smoothed out. But it's like you smoke weed, or even people are doing like meth kind of stuff in jail.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you going to do? That's how those guys end up like, scratching their nails off on the walls.
Dude, I know, and people say, like, I meet a lot of these correction guys. They go, man, you see these people that get in, they try to act crazy, they try to do all this stuff. He's like, everybody's back to themselves in 2 weeks.
Yeah. You can't keep that up.
Right.
You go in there, you say you're going to play a character. You start talking with an Italian accent or something. Right. It's like, no, we got to be around you 24 hours a day.
Doing push-ups.
Yeah.
And he said you'd be surprised how many people actually come out in there. Like, they just figure it's easier than fighting. Wow. He's like, I've seen guys just go from cell to cell. And he's like, we can't butt in if it's willing.
It's got to be fucked up if you go in and, like, your plan is, like, I'm just going to be a real gross guy who, like, doesn't wipe his ass and doesn't bathe or shower so nobody wants to touch me.
Right.
But then, like, you got to be around yourself 24 hours a day.
And people might fight you for stinking.
I don't know. I think there are some because there are some guys who are like kind of, like you get germophobic.
Right.
You don't want to touch somebody. But it's like, just imagine having to keep that up, being the dirty guy, having to keep that up every single day for 10 years.
Right.
You would feel horrible. You would be like showering in secret. Just,
Right.
I don't want anybody to know I got clean, but it's like, I got to this stink.
You got to keep some dirt on your face. I can't stand body odor like must. If my cellmate's musty, I might have to fight his ass.
I can't even be in a train car with him.
Give him the knife, say, dude, we're fighting for the booty.
But, I mean, then you haven't solved your problem, though.
Well,
then he's just like, he's got a black eye and he stinks even more.
You know what questions me is, okay, now there's orders you got to follow in there. So, like, say I join the Aryan Nation, I guess, because I have to. I'm white, right? That's what they say. So I got to become whatever that is, Aryan Brotherhood, whatever. So I join that, and then they give you rules. I mean, here's the thing. These people are fucked up. They're prisoners. Right. So now I got to follow their rules? Like, who knows how fucked their rules are? What if I'm doing 3 years? They're like, you want our protection? Stab him.
Exactly. Well, yeah, it's like being in prison twice.
Right.
Because you're in prison, then you're also with,
Then you got to follow these
system.
fucking guys.
Yeah, and
I highly doubt that there's,
Well, I think there's rules in the sense that, like, you don't fight one of your own guys.
Right.
And then if we tell you to go over there and do something, you got to do it, or else, it's going to be some trouble.
I try my best to keep to myself.
I think that's what everybody says. When they get in. It's like, what do you do?
They say you got to catch all your fades your first day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you got to, like, you want to be the guy who can fight, but, like, not fight that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to fight, like, just good enough where it's like, I might win the fight. But you don't want to be the guy who it's like, people are challenging you.
The best advice, it was actually on this podcast. You came up with it. You said you'd do something to help them. Dude, that is so brilliant.
Well, you got to not just help them, but you got to be the guy who, like, you tell them you're a lawyer.
Gives them hope to get out.
Well, it's the same way that, like, if you want to get, like, famous on TikTok or a popular account, and you're not actually talented, the route to go is I'm going to be the guy who's going to tell you how to become famous on TikTok.
Right.
I'm going to be the guy. I know all the secret hashtags.
Right.
I know how to do all this stuff.
Forget about hashtags. They're dead. You see the guy got 20 of them.
Yeah. Exactly. I know I read the secret books that they gave you.
Right.
And it's like, that's the approach you got to take in prison, where it's like, no, I know the law. It's all in Greek, but I know it. So it's like, I'll help you out.
I am the law.
Yeah. Well, these dumb guys, dumb guys always think that there's a secret plan.
Yeah.
To get it, there must be a secret hashtag I got to use.
Well, you got to.
You just got to string them along long enough, then eventually,
Every now and then with prison, just circle back to the white man. And just be like, look, see, now this is the white man. It's his fault.
Okay. Well, it's just like anything else. You got to learn a couple catchphrases, and Juris
like
Doctrine.
What catchphrase? Oh, wow, that's a good one.
Habeas corpus.
Woolworth. What was that one you said earlier? They don't have the Willworth.
Wherewithal.
That's a word.
I mean, no, just not even that, but I mean, just like Latin. Ipso facto, habeas corpus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Res ipsa loquitur. And it's like you start rattling that shit around. And to some dumb guy's been in jail for 20 years. He thinks, this guy knows.
Oh, dude, he's gonna be telling everybody.
Latin.
Yeah. They'll be calling you Chinese too. They won't know you're Japanese.
Well, they're gonna start. Everybody shows up. I think everybody carries their paperwork around in prison, right? Where it says everybody's gonna be like, show you. You read their paperwork, and it's like you get your little glasses out.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, I mean, this is gonna take a while.
Little monocle.
Yeah, no. Let's see. This is the statute right
And that's
here.
when you could get.
This is statute 1467.
And you got leverage. You know what? Give me your bread.
Yeah, right. Yeah, give me some of those Swedish fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like canned food.
Yeah, so you go to commissary.
Like, no, Shawshank Redemption.
And they'll be telling people, we got the Rerendathol and shit. The dude was white. Yeah, people will be backing him up.
This man has a bachelor's degree.
Yeah, the Chinese man.
Yeah, everybody.
Go see Han Kim.
Take your stuff to him. The problem with that, though, is that, like, you can only, I think it's kind of hard to keep the plate spinning. Because it's like, you
get 6 years.
You get a couple of years of that, and then eventually they realize they're still in prison.
They'll start getting mad. You got to be like, oh, man, I told you this shit takes time.
Yeah, I told you, res ipsa loquitur.
Yeah.
Habeas corpus.
Listen, man, you got to keep your cool. Listen, I'm here with you.
Quid pro quo.
We're in this together.
Yeah.
Then they come, Dan, you're released.
Yeah. And you got that last couple of days. It's a little rough for you.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm going to come back for you.
Bro, you can't let them know. That's the thing. They get jealous. You think jealousy out on the streets and comedy is real? Jealousy in prison is real. Well, I got 25 years and you're doing 3. Well, because you murdered 30 people.
Well, I think these days it is just like it's so much easier to sell people a dream just because people who are in a system they don't understand. You can always tell them that if you understand the system, dumb guys will always believe you.
Yeah.
And the way we're talking about TikTok algorithms and stuff, there's dumb guys who are like, I don't know how this works. This guy says he knows how it works. Therefore,
Because they don't believe in themselves either.
Well, there's that. And it's like the system is fucked up. TikTok is tricky.
Right.
We've both gone through it where it's like, I don't know what's going on. But it's like the thing we've realized after all this work we've done is you just got to try.
Right.
And eventually you get lucky enough that, things start to stack up. But it's like, you saw this thing like the Chase Bank hack. Did you see this last week?
Was this real? Yeah.
This last week, everybody was like, someone figured out they called it like a method.
You can bounce a check.
You write a check. You write a check
People
to
did that in the 90s all the time.
You write a check to yourself and then you withdraw the money immediately.
Right.
But the reason why Chase Bank it was almost a real thing was the Chase Bank was they were just clearing checks immediately. Normally it takes a few days.
Right.
If you don't have good credit. It takes a few days for a check to clear, but somebody figured out that you can just write yourself a $100,000 check and it's in your account. The problem though is that then what?
Right.
You still fucking Bank. They're still going to come after you.
Yeah, and it's like these people. Did people hit it for $100K?
They did, but it's like immediately. It's not like you can take out $100,000 in cash.
Right.
You can take out $300 from an ATM.
Right.
But it's just like people just want to look at their account and see a big number. But it's like, this is how dumb people are. It's like, there was one smart person in the very beginning of this who was like, he must have sold somebody that scam for like $100.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, I can show you. He probably did a screen grab on his phone and went like this.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, all these dumb guys are like, he figured it out. He figured out the infinite money glitch.
Yep.
And it's like, no, there is no infinite.
Oh, dude.
You're not smarter than Chase.
You don't want to go to Harlem right now. I guarantee you.
It's everywhere. Across the country. This is why. I mean, back in the day, this kind of scam would have been local. This would have been a thing where a couple hundred guys know about. Now it's like overnight on TikTok and people are Snapchatting each other. And it's like this shit went worldwide immediately.
It's funny. They basically are like, here's a way to just make a whole bunch of people do extra work. And probably scam ourselves a little.
Well, no, because I think when you do the scam, at first you think you got away with it because you're looking at your Chase account and it says plus $100,000. But it's like, no, they know the money. It's like you didn't get away with cash.
I always get Venmo requests for crazy amounts. I put my Venmo, and sometimes I get money, but I put my stuff up on my Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
And, every now and then I get some weird request. Every now and then I'll get like $30. Thanks for the laugh. Or something.
That the scamming kind of stuff these days. It's like there's more and more kids these days who are just doing they got weird credit cards. You open a credit card, then you pay it off with this credit card, and you use this number for that. There's some guys who just they get that's like their new kind of crime.
Yeah,
it's like I clone a credit card, then I pay it off with this card, then you move it to Bitcoin, and then you
do that. The request is a crime too because some people accidentally think they're getting that money and they send it to you.
Yeah, well, it's like you do the thing where you send somebody you try to send them $5, but you accidentally send them 5,000.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, send me back the last $4,000, and it's like,
I got one right now for $100K. I don't know what this dude's thinking. 100K on Venmo request last night.
But there's all these things because it's like the banking system is like kind of confusing if you don't. It feels like magic. How does money get from my phone to your phone? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I don't really understand the mechanics of it, but you understand. I think people think that they're smarter than the system. You're never going to be smarter than the banking system.
And whoever if you do, then they're going to fix that problem.
Exactly. Whoever it is that runs Chase Bank. This is the same thing when people are on TikTok and they say unalive.
Oh, yeah.
They say sex and they spell it with G's. Do you think that nobody at TikTok knows how this works?
Right.
Do you think you're smarter than some fucking Chinese guy at TikTok? These people are paid to be smarter than you. These are the smartest people in the world.
Right.
There's some very smart Chinese or Indian guy who works in California somewhere, and it's like, no, they know unalive is the same as kill.
Right.
So if you think kill is going to get you shadow banned, unalive is, you're not going to outsmart the system.
Yeah.
And you put, link in comment. This is how I'm going to trick the algorithm. It's like, no, this is all made up.
Everybody's all about tricking the algorithm. People talk to me. They go, let me ask you a question. So if I post rate as the clock hits 12.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what do you...
Oh, see, you used to think this way, though. Remember back before things started working out for you? You were talking about, I'm going to pay this person to market for me.
Right. That was all I wanted to do.
You were always talking about it. Oh, this guy showed me the secret. And it was like, I can't even show you, so just take a picture of my phone. Yeah. And then you look at their phone, it says use 3 hashtags instead of 4.
Right.
Yeah, use this sound. And it's like, no, you're trying to beat the system.
Yeah.
No, you give the system what it wants, a funny video.
Right.
That's how you win, is be funny on TikTok. Be funny on Instagram. Don't try to I'm going to, there's somebody out there who doesn't want me to get it, but I'm going to work around them. It's like, no, it's not going to happen.
Right.
They are smarter than you. They know the system better than you know the system. Plus, I mean, I can't believe nobody has even pointed this out. Kill Tony is like the biggest show in the world.
Right.
It has kill in the name.
Wow.
Why do people think that this is somehow like going to get you shadow banned? They just sold out Madison Square Garden.
Right.
It's like this is somebody, like I'm saying, people who don't understand things, they think somebody else must understand it.
Yeah.
Somebody said unalive is the way to go, and everybody went with it. There was never a proof that this is actually doing anything.
Wow.
And everybody is like, this guy must know what he's talking about because he's loud with it.
Everybody does confident. Say unalive.
It makes no sense. You see every single rule anybody ever makes for social media where it's like, oh, you got to have captions. You can't curse in the first 5 seconds.
Right.
You can't say this. You can't say
it's
kill.
all about the hook
you
line.
Can't say COVID. None of that's true. Every single thing every rule anybody's ever tried to give you, you can find a million examples of that not being true.
Right.
The TikTok is filled with the most foul shit ever.
I met one guy, and he does have a ton of followers. He's like, dude, I cracked the system, and I'm talking to him. I'm like, dude, you got to tell me how. He goes, look, 3 million views, 2 million views. I'm like, holy shit, dude, every video, millions of views. So he goes, yeah, check this out. And he shows me, dude, I'm not even making this up. The dude dropped about $50,000 on ad money in the past 5 months.
Yeah. So it's like he didn't break the system. The system just got him for $50,000.
Right.
It's like, you didn't beat. Yeah, that's not like outsmarting anything.
I was like,
if you pay enough, you can make anything look real.
But what comes from that?
Nothing. Ego boost. You get to show somebody else that you have whatever millions of followers, and it's like, this is people realize that like whatever systems we're living in these days, everything seems more complex than you could ever understand.
Yeah,
but it's like I'm saying, you're never gonna win.
Right.
You got to stop people. Anytime it's like you see subway car pulls up, it's rush hour, one car looks empty. Oh, there's all those seats. There you go. Yeah, I'll go sit in that car. It's like, no, it's like that for a reason.
Yep.
You're never going to outsmart New York City.
Never.
10 million people in this city. It's like you're not finding, I'm the guy who found a $300 apartment.
Right.
It's like, no, there's something fucked up about it.
I can't stand those fake apartment deals on TikTok.
Yeah.
Look at this room. It's right on Central Park for only $4 a month.
Yeah.
You see it, 14 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms.
Well, the worst is like, I mean, that's like, people are fantasy land, but it's the worst when it's like, oh, this is in prime Bed-Stuy. It's a studio apartment for $1,100, where it sounds just low enough to be real.
Right.
It's like, it's fake.
Right.
100 comments. Everybody's like, how do I apply? Where is it? It's like, no. This scam is, this is a real estate guy who has $3,000 apartments.
Right.
And you're going to call him and say, hey, is that cheap apartment available? It's like, no, it's not.
Right.
But I got these other ones. Come check them out.
Come check them out.
Yeah.
Same thing with the car
1
business.
month broker fee.
I called this guy for a van once. I'll never forget. I go, hey, I seen the van, man, 7,900. That ain't bad. He goes, oh, yeah, we don't have it no more. I knew that was a scam. He's like, I got another one, slightly more miles, couple more dings, but he goes, I do it for 1,100. I'm like, wait, if it's more miles, and why is it more than that? He goes, it's this style van, da-da-da. So then he keeps upping me up on the phone. He goes, okay, so I go, okay, so if I want to buy this thing out the door, it's 11. I'm looking for an out the door price. How much would I need? I had about 10 grand in the bank and a check coming in. I'm like, I'm looking to spend about 10. He goes, well, this one that's 11, tax and fees, and my fee, you're gonna need about 14. Then interest and out the door, dog fees, bring about 8. He goes, if you can bring 25,000 cash, I said, dude, what are we talking about here?
Yep.
I said the van's 10,000. I start yelling at him on the phone. And it's like, that's what they just try to get you more and more.
Well, I mean, I think they realize the game there is, what if this guy's in a rush? This guy doesn't want to deal with all this shit. So they're hoping you're just going to be like, all right, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
Where you've gone, if they've dragged you on long enough. It's like I was at Guitar Center the other day. I just bought a little drum set at home. It was like, I don't know, $400, I think. I go up to the register. I know it's supposed to be with tax like $390. I get up to the register, and this, I know how retail works. The guy has a barcode scanner. You scan the barcode of the thing. That's the price.
Right.
He scanned the barcode thing, and then he pulls out his keyboard. It's kind of like, the airport. They start typing, and they're typing like way too much.
Know that's
tap,
trouble.
tap, tap. And then next screen, da, 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 and it's like, what are we even? I don't even know what you're pretending to do right now.
Right.
You're not doing it. So we were at the register for like 10 minutes. There's a line forming behind me. Everybody's trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. And the guy's like, all right, I figured it out. Boom. $570. And I'm like, no, what are we doing? And he was like, oh, you don't want the 3-year warranty? I was like, no, you didn't even ask me if I wanted the warranty.
Wow.
You just assumed, because I don't want to, I feel like an asshole with all these people behind me. And you just look like you just pretended to do 10 minutes of work.
Did you tell him that?
Well, I said no. Take that shit off.
Quiet. Yeah.
I think that he was relying on the fact that I look like a guy who wouldn't stand up for myself. So I look like a guy these days. Everybody just taps their phone. It's like whatever.
Right.
It's like, nah, fuck that. Take that off.
Wow.
People do that. You've seen this at the bodegas.
They always do it.
Yeah.
My guy just got me, and I was nice to him. I told him, I said, man, I was actually nice to you. I come here.
Yeah.
I gave him a 20. Whatever I got costed $4. He gives me 6 back.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I gave you a 20. He knew right away. Oh, I said, dude, and it was laying right there. And dude, you know me, dude. I tell people.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro. I said, I was nice to you, man. I know you ain't that bad.
At least that's cash. You've seen it with credit cards. These days, that's why I never use my credit card at the bodega.
Right.
It's like that guy's just tap, 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 scan your phone. People don't realize they just paid an extra $3.
Right.
Because that guy's putting in whatever the fuck he wants to put in there.
Yep.
You're trusting whatever this guy.
Everybody.
And they're trusting the fact that the reason that guy's doing it is that there are some people out of the population that's probably like 25% of people who are just like, I'm not going to argue with you over $3.
Well, I'll tell you what's so bad. I remember I was always talking about neighborhood. Now I'm in a neighborhood where I see the people all the time. And I thought I'd get the hookup. Nope. Dude talks to me like he's my best friend. Yep. Hey, comedian, good to see you. I got 3 things with a girl the other day, $17. I'm not going to question it. We always know. When you're with a girl, you can't question
it.
So I'm sitting at the house.
Yeah.
I got strawberries that usually cost between $5 and $7. And then I got a candy bar and a fucking can of Celsius water.
Yeah.
So at most, And he still ripped me off. $17 for that's a ripoff.
Yeah.
But he's always hitting me for $2 or $3. And I'm like, dude, we're supposed to be friends. You're going to lose I'm here twice a day. And you're going to lose all my business for $2 or $3.
You say you're never going to go back. You're going to go back.
I'll get stubborn, bro. I start going to this deli now.
Wait till you get a little tired. Wait till that guy rips you off. It's only a matter of time. This is a rotten city.
Yep,
people
dude, you're
steal.
right.
Yeah, people.
And that dude already. That's why I started going to him.
I've been ripped off at every bodega.
Right.
You've seen my neighborhood. There's like 10 in the neighborhood. They all try to get me. It's like I think you just at a certain point you got to just it's built in.
You got to go with exact change.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say next. I'm paying in ones.
Right.
I'm waiting until the very last. I'm not even pulling out my wallet until you say the price.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
Yeah, don't be the guy who hands over a 20 and then asks how much it is.
Everywhere you got to pay exact change.
Yeah.
You tell them, well, I'm sorry. And then they're not. The thing is, once they made the sandwich, they're not going to. They want your $6-7.
Yeah. It's like then we'll be a little bit more reasonable.
I can't believe the game we got to play.
Hey man, that's life. But it's just like not only am I only paying $6 and I'm paying in ones, I'm pretending like I didn't even bring my wallet, and that $6 is somehow all the money I have in the world.
It's funny. I was hanging out with a rich dude. I think he's rich. This girl tells me he's rich. He took me out for lamb chops. I mean, he didn't end up buying me any. So I thought I was getting them, so I order them. He's like, "No, go for it." So then we get him, and then he pays for his on the sly, and I get my bill just for mine. And the girl already left. I'm like, this motherfucker. Yeah. But either way, I thought he was rich, so we go for a walk. We're talking. He has some show he wants to make or whatever. He's probably talking shit, and he's like, his family owns a tobacco farm in the Midwest somewhere.
Right.
So either way, we go to the corner store, and I'm buying some shit. And, I don't want to question the guy. I knew he ripped me off a couple bucks, and I'm with this rich dude. I'm like, I got to look like I don't need it.
Yeah.
Dude, we walk out of the deli. This fucking dude stole like 3 things.
Wow.
I'm like, dude, what? I'm over here questioning.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, shit, I forgot to pay for it. Dude, you forgot to fucking pay for it. Come on, dude.
Well, maybe that's the lesson you got to learn.
Still.
You got to just start, It's just, you got to start shoplifting.
Dude said he forgot to pay for it. 3 things, just walked out with it. And here's the thing, he didn't hide it or nothing. Nobody stopped him.
Wow. This is a rotten city.